What a head, son! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be going over the ultimate guide to the upcoming Game Week 22. So the never-ending Game Week 21 has finally concluded, and now we can turn our attention to the upcoming Game Week 22, which proves to be quite exciting with the return of a certain Norwegian. Now in this ultimate guide, I'll be going over some more general talking points. It's a lot of football to take place with the FA Cup coming up this weekend, and the deadline's going to be happening next Tuesday. So I'll be going over some more general talking points, and then in the videos like the team selection, I'll go over some more specific ones. So the stats review, the Camps debate, also be talking about the FA Cup and the League Cup and what those games mean for the future schedule, and also be touching on Mo Salah and HAALAND. So if those talking points are something that you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first talking point, as usual, is going to be the stats review. I'll be going over the most informed teams over the entire season and over the last 6 to 7 game weeks, as because we've had some blanks in the past, we've had to unfortunately go for 6 to 7. Now I'll be going over the attacking numbers first and then go over the defensive numbers, so let's just jump straight into it. So on the left hand side, let's go over the best attacking teams over the entire season. I'll be using XG non-penalty per 90 minutes. As mentioned, some teams have actually played more games than others. So left hand side is a little bit kind of predictable. We've got Liverpool, Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, and finally Aston Villa. And all these teams have had pretty respectable Premier League seasons. Liverpool at the top there with the upcoming double gaming potentially could be absolute gold. So fingers crossed Mo Salah's back for that. Other than them though, some Newcastle coverage might be on the cards. They have some nice fixtures coming up from Game Week 23 onwards. And Man City with an upcoming double, you probably want HAALAND as well. Other than them though, Arsenal, Spurs, and Aston Villa, all kind of respectable attacks. All of us do own these assets. And even though Saka might not be performing well at the moment, at least Arsenal are. On the right hand side, these are the kind of worst defenses at the moment over the entire season. Also XG per 90 minutes. And you target these kind of attacks if you have defenders. So for example, Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, and finally Fulham. If your defenders are playing these attacks, the chance of a clean sheet is quite strong. What you can also read from this is if you are looking to bring on someone like an Eze, you might see that Crystal Palace's attack isn't that great, but just remember, this is over the entire season and he has been injured. Within my own personal team, I've doubled up on that Arsenal defense, so I'm hoping the Nottingham Forest kind of put up these numbers, so hopefully the clean sheet will be there. Now if we turn our attention to the last 6 to 7 game weeks, as mentioned, I've had to go from game week 15 onwards because some teams have had blanks, but all numbers are per 90 minutes and therefore kind of normalized. So over the last few game weeks, it's going to be Arsenal at the top with 2.24 XG non-penalty per 90 minutes, followed by Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City, finally Spurs and Chelsea. It's almost the order here has been rearranged. Also the fact that Chelsea here, even though this is not considering penalties, and we all know how many Cole Palmer scored. So these inform attacks definitely should be targeted if you guys want to go there. Yet again, Saka not really performing well, but at least Arsenal are. So surely the points are going to be coming. On the right hand side, we've had some shake-ups here. It's now Burnley, Crystal Palace, and Brentford as our worst 3. Surprisingly, after Brentford scored 3 goals in Ivan Toney's comeback. So I wouldn't let this put me off Ivan Toney if you guys want to go there. Other than them though, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, and West Ham. Maybe if you guys are looking at a Bowen against Bournemouth or Kudus at a cheaper price point, that West Ham attack hasn't been that great, but I guess the fixtures have been slightly tougher. So some changes from the left hand side to the right hand side in terms of the whole season and the last 6 to 7 game weeks. But the best attacks have stayed pretty consistent. Now let's switch things up and go over the defensive department. How I rank the best defenses, I use expected clean sheets. This metric basically tells you the expected clean sheet per 90 minutes that the teams do have, and the best defense this season is going to be Arsenal. So they narrowly beat out Man City, then there's a big drop off to Aston Villa, Liverpool, Newcastle, and finally Chelsea. So I'm pretty happy with owning that double up, just hope the points do come from Arsenal. One to watch out for is going to be Man City if you guys can kind of predict with the upcoming double game week 25 which defenders are going to start. You could get a few points in that game week. Aston Villa as a Konza owner, that's looking quite good. Liverpool, if you guys do own Trent, you'd love to see that. And then finally Newcastle and Chelsea. On the right hand side, I've switched up the stat. I'll be going over XG conceded, also per 90 minutes. So the reason I want to go over this stat is we don't really care if a team keeps a clean sheet. If they don't keep a clean sheet, I want to know how many goals they're conceding. For example, Luton at 2.22. They're followed up by Sheffield United, West Ham, Burnley, Fulham, and finally Newcastle. And this is where you guys might be paused and asking, why are Newcastle on the left and the right hand side? So basically what this tells us is that when Newcastle are going to be keeping a clean sheet, the XG conceded is going to be super low, but when they don't keep a clean sheet, they're conceding a few goals like in the past few game weeks. So yes, a team can be on both sides. It's a little bit weird though. Usually if a team isn't keeping clean sheets, the defense is not going to be great. But this shows that Newcastle are purely polarizing. I guess what you guys can see from this is they've had a very bad kind of second half to the first half of the season. And when they do have a tougher game, they are conceding out of XG. Now in terms of the other teams, pretty kind of expected there. As an Areola owner, never like to see West Ham quite high on this list. And that's why he gets bonus points when he does keep a clean sheet, because he's making so many saves. Otherwise, target Luton, Sheffield United, Burnley as well as Fulham, as their defenses this season have been great. Now let's see if things switch up if we do go over the last 6 or 7 game weeks. Once again, expected clean sheets on the left hand side, and Arsenal are going to be trumps, and they followed by Aston Villa. So both these two defenses have been pretty popular on those transfers in Saliba, Gabriel as well as Konza, and I think Liverpool and Trent will be popular around that Game Week 25 double if it happens. Other than them though, Bournemouth, which is a little bit surprised they conceded 4 to Liverpool, they face West Ham up next, but the previous games are actually pretty good for their defense. Then finally Man City as well as Wolves, which is a little bit interesting, so maybe that Wolves side might be in a void for the attack. On the right hand side, you guys can see once again Newcastle at the top at 3.11. They've had a very rough kind of last few game weeks, but the fixtures have been slightly tougher, but I probably won't jump on many of the defenders at the current moment. Following up is me West Ham, us Areola owners do know this, and then Burnley, Crystal Palace, Luton and finally Sheffield United. So basically on the right hand side, you guys should target this. As an Ollie Watkins owner, I'm looking at this Newcastle game and hoping for the best. So let's see if they keep up this current trend. But what you guys can do is pause the screen, rewind, fast forward, whatever you guys want to. If you guys want to go over your own stats, go over to Fantasy Football Fix. Their Opta Stat Sandbox is every stat under the sun. Now the next talking point is going to be super integral to the kind of future, the doubles, the blank game weeks, and that's with the League Cup and the FA Cup. So first of all, I'm actually recording this on Wednesday afternoon, so therefore the kind of Liverpool vs Fulham game is coming up later. But whoever wins that game is going to have a blank in Game Week 26. The blank yesterday, Chelsea beating Middlesbrough, so therefore Chelsea vs Spurs is going to be a blank in Game Week 26, as the League Cup final is going to be that weekend. So just make sure that you guys are prepared for that, but don't worry, in an upcoming video I'll be going over all the blanks and the double game weeks. I just want to give you guys a few pointers in this video. Now in terms of the FA Cup, that's going to be coming up on Friday evening all the way through to Sunday, and while that won't tell us who blanks in Game Week 29, it's going to tell us the draw for the next round, and whoever wins that round will be blanking Game Week 29. So once again, the FA Cup games, the next round won't be telling us who blanks, however the draw for the upcoming round will give us predictions, and based on those predictions and that draw, we can predict who's going to blank in Game Week 29. But don't worry, I just want to give you guys a pointer or kind of plant the seed for a future video. Even if you guys just watch out for injury news in the FA Cup coming up, that could be quite integral. So the next talking point is going to be about two very popular options. The first one is going to be Mo Salah from Liverpool, and the second one is going to be Erling Haaland from Man City. And I'll be giving you guys the updates on the two injury situations with these two players. So let's start off with the left-hand side, Mo Salah. If you guys know, he should be at AFCON at the current moment. Egypt have qualified for the next round of the competition, the round of 16. But Mo Salah at the moment is back at Liverpool because he got injured. A press release came out from his agent saying that Mo Salah potentially might be out until the final of AFCON. If Egypt do progress to the final, he'll be returning to the camp. And I guess if he has a better rehabilitation, he might be back earlier. Now this might be some country politics. Maybe Mo Salah's injury might not be that bad. They want to just monitor it. They don't have faith in Egypt to progress past the round of 16. And therefore they'd rather them recover and see how Egypt progress. But to be honest, Mo Salah is quite patriotic. I don't really think this might be true. Also remember that Egypt kind of released him to Liverpool, so they assessed that injury. So it might actually be quite bad. So the reason this might be quite bad is because Game Week 24, Game Week 25 is around where Mo Salah might be returning if the injury news is confirmed. And as you guys know, Liverpool have a double in Game Week 25, and if he misses one of those games, that's going to be quite bad. Now we can't really do too much at the moment with this kind of Mo Salah injury news. My best advice would probably be, if you guys have him, have 2 free transfers, you might want to transfer him out. Otherwise just hold thumbs on that injury news, and I'm pretty sure when he comes back it will be announced. Let's hope it might be around that Burnley game. I think that's Game Week 24, as that's a great one on paper. Then talking about Burnley at home, another option, Erling Haaland has returned to full training this week. Now if you guys do recall, a few weeks ago he returned to full training, but then he had something that happened in that training session, and that was a setback on his injury. So the biggest news about Man City though is going to come up on Friday. They face Spurs in the FA Cup. If Erling Haaland gets minutes, looks okay, comes out uninjured, I definitely think he's a transfer in for that Burnley at home game in Game Week 22, which is the upcoming game week. But the worst scenario might be if Erling Haaland misses that game, doesn't play any minutes in the FA Cup, and then Pep says he's kind of wait and see for the upcoming Game Week 22, as then we kind of force into the decision of bring him in or not. But once again, some press conference news might be quite likely. Just make sure that you guys watch on Friday evening. If HAALAND plays any minutes, I'll probably be bringing him in and give him the Campsy armband for this easy fixture. So to kind of conclude about these two options, Mo Salah's going to be out for around 3 weeks potentially. Erling Haaland might be back, but if he plays in the FA Cup, that's going to be confirmed. Otherwise, Man City might give him a few weeks to build up that fitness. But I will update you guys on the kind of situation with these two options in my team selection coming up on the weekend, as hopefully by then we have some more information. Now the last talking point I want to go over as usual is going to be all about the Campsy debate. This week, a pretty interesting week as there are a few outside differential punts. Now the first player I want to talk about is going to be Alvarez, kind of the highest projected point scorer on Fix at 7.4 with that very easy Burnley at home game. Now if Erling Haaland does miss the FA Cup game, there might be some question marks about his fitness. I think Alvarez is the best option this week as he's now to start at that striker position. I'm always considering bringing Alvarez in if Erling Haaland does miss out. As a non-owner, I'm super scared of this game, and all I can hope for is that Phil Foden covers him. Now obviously if Erling Haaland does play minutes in the FA Cup, he looks fine, he looks on form, then he's definitely the best option to get this week. Now if you guys don't own Alvarez like me, you own a Phil Foden, he can be also a good Campsy option if you guys want to go there, but Haaland or Alvarez is definitely where it's at. Now another option to look at is going to be Richarlison from Spurs. They have Brentford at home, Brentford at the moment aren't defending that great. And with rumours that Maddison might be back, Richarlison's service will be even better. I do believe he's nailed. I don't think Timo Werner is going to come near to that striker position, and Richarlison is in great form at the moment. Now the last option could be kind of a few options. There might be Eze for Crystal Palace, they face Sheffield United, but the one I want to highlight is going to be Jared Bowen against Bournemouth at home, and his projected points is 5.5. Now Kudus is going to be returning from AFCON, or should be for West Ham, come Game Week 22, and therefore there might be better service for Bowen at that striker position. Now if I did own him, I might go there, but I might prefer the previous two options. But if you guys want to go for a punt or a differential, this one might be staring you in the face. I guess the only concern might be the stats. West Ham's attack hasn't been that great. That Bournemouth defense recently has been pretty good, but they did just concede 4 goals to Liverpool. If I was to give you guys my own personal opinion, it would be the first two options. If you guys own Alvarez, if Haaland's out, I definitely would captain him, but as a non-owner, almost hoping that Erling Haaland makes it back. But if he doesn't, I'm favouring kind of Richarlison slightly over Phil Foden because of expected minutes. With Kevin De Bruyne back in the lineup, back training, don't exactly know how Phil Foden's going to play or how many minutes he'll get, whereas Richarlison's pretty nailed for most minutes. But comment down below, who's your captain going to the upcoming Game Week 22? Are you guys going kind of safe, Erling Haaland, Alvarez, or going for a differential punt? Bowen and Eze might be good options. Now if you guys have any talking points you want me to cover, comment them down below. I try to reply to every comment on YouTube and on my Discord server. But stay tuned to future videos where I will cover more up-to-date news. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Team selection hopefully coming up this weekend. But for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.